First question here on the left.
Tyrese, Robert O'Connell, Wall Street Journal. You talked about hearing some of the doubt over the last summer. It kind of continues a pattern of your career, right? Where you talked about being, I think your phrase was no star recruit, 12th in the draft, Sacramento traded you, all these things. Taking the broad view, what do you think it is about your game, specifically the way you play, that has made people underrate it at times, even as you've continued to climb levels? Like, what about your approach to the game makes it easy to miss what you're doing at times?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think it's unorthodox. That's a word that can be easily used. My jumper, the way it looks, that's always been criticized coming into the NBA. I think that was honestly a big part of it. And I think sometimes I have an effect on the game that isn't necessarily the gaudy box score numbers. And so the way our game is now, the way the game is digested by fans sometimes, I think it's a lot of box score watchers. And so if my box score doesn't look the way that it's supposed to, I think that can be a part of it as well. So I don't necessarily know the answer, but I know that it's probably not going to stop anytime soon. So, yeah, it's just part of it.
Again, Joe, second row.
Hey, Ty. Like the crew neck, by the way.
Appreciate it.
So you guys won the first 2 games in Cleveland. You won the first 2 games in New York. Just did, one game won the other night. How hard is it to do that? Is there a commonality between all these road victories you guys are picking up? And then for the other side, it's really hard if you're a home team in a playoff series to lose the first 2 and come back and win the series. So are you aware of all that in addition to speaking of how difficult it is to do what you've done so far?
Yeah, definitely aware, right? But I think winning on the road is hard. Winning an NBA game is hard in general, and especially a playoff game, and let alone a finals game, right? It's not easy. But I think you're just trying to be as present as you can. Like that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest thing we've talked about as a group is this journey is going to be whatever it is, 18, 19 days until, if there's a game 7. So you're trying to take it one day at a time, and that's how we've approached every playoff series that we've been in as a group is how can we take it a day at a time. So today it's about, getting through the media stuff and getting to practice and locking in on what we got to do better for tomorrow. But we want to have a good practice day today. And I think that's just the way we are approaching it. Because if we try to look too far in advance, I think that's where, you have moments in today or yesterday that don't go the way that they should. So you're just trying to take it a day at a time. And that's the biggest thing that coaches preach to us and we preach to each other as a group is how can we just have a good day today to prepare us for tomorrow. But, the journey to get here all year hasn't been about, when we get to the final. No, it's just been about taking it a day at a time, especially the start we had to the year. So we're aware of, and it's hard not to be, we're human beings. We have social media. We have friends and family, who tell us all the numbers of, if you can win the 2 games at home, what it will, whatever it'll look like or on the road or whatever the case is. But again, you just try not to pay attention to it as best as you can, and don't let human nature creep in. Just try to take it a day at a time.
Mark Spears on the far right.
Yeah, Mark Spears, ESPN Landscape. 2 things. One, you mentioned the social media stuff, but some of your stuff is pretty funny. Is there anything that you saw that kind of tickled you? And then 2, I did want to ask you if you could reflect back on your courtship of Pascal and kind of like, hey, you're going to be here kind of mentality with it.
Yeah. First question. Yeah, I see a fair share of the absurd things that are on social media. Get a good laugh out of certain things. I think that's just a part of NBA Twitter in general. It's pretty funny stuff. And then as far as the stuff with Pascal, yeah, I can recall everything about getting him here. We were in Atlanta, had a pretty great conversation with him while I was at a dinner. I stepped aside. We talked on the phone for like an hour. I just wanted to have a conversation with him. Hey, is this something that you actually want to do? Do you want to be here? Because I think that the guys who have been a part of the nucleus of this group, we cherish this. We cherish this organization and what we've been able to build here. And when you I think every team to ultimately get to win a championship or play at a high level, right? There's going to be a trade that happens, or you bring in somebody from the outside to come and be a part of it, and you don't want to make the wrong move, right? And if you go in for Pascal, you want to be about the right things. And I didn't really know Pascal too well, other than our small conversations when we would be at like Rico runs or something. So we had a great conversation, and I think we just very much so aligned on wanting to win, and that being the emphasis. Obviously, I told him that, hey, I think that we could really play well together. I think I can get you the ball in space and allow you to do what you do. And he preached that there's many things that he could do to help me succeed. And we had many conversations about it. But I mean, that being said, that after that conversation, you still don't know if it's going to happen, because a trade has to be made, and that all that stuff has to be aligned. But this was just a conversation that I initiated because I knew the rumors and I wanted to talk to him about it. Very thankful I did, and we aligned on those things. And I think it's a big part of why we are where we are, and that relationship that we have. We don't spend a lot of time together off the floor. Like, he lives downtown Indy, I live more up north, so it's not like we spend a ton of time together off the floor. But we talk very often, and it's a lot of basketball talk. And I think the biggest thing that I can respect about him is just his work ethic. He comes in the gym. I know he's going to be there every day. I know the exact hoop he's going to be on, so I try not to take his hoop. I let him get his one-on-one work in. And, I think that's seeing him work that hard makes me want to work harder, and I think that goes through our group. So, love having him as a teammate.
Right here on the left.
Jaime Hawkins Jr., NBA correspondent. My question to you is, obviously you guys, the Pacers and OKC, are both very young teams. Do you feel like if this is a moment that is kind of a changing of the guard where you guys are carrying the torch for the league and on to the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a conversation that is more so for, media talk and those things. I think, the changing of the guard really isn't necessarily fair, because like guys like Bron, Steph, they're still playing at such a high level. So I don't look at it that way. I try not to think of the outside narratives that go into the result of them winning or us winning. Just try to approach it with, we want to win, and whatever the conversation is after, whatever that is, then it'll be what it is. You don't really have control of that, as you know. I think it's cool to see young teams having success, and maybe what we're doing or they're doing could be a blueprint for other young teams in this league. But as far as those conversations, those are for the media. We just want to win.
Chris on the far right.
Tyrese, Chris Hagan, Fox 59, Indianapolis. You know how much people love basketball in Indiana. You've been reminded 100 times that it's been 25 years since they've been here. What's the sense of urgency to realize, like you said, it's hard to win a playoff series. It's hard to get here, to seize this moment now when it's just so close?
Yeah, I think, obviously the sense of urgency for Indiana fans and for everybody should be heightened, because, we always talk about you never know when you'll get this moment again, or if you'll get this moment again. I had a great conversation with Steve Nash a couple days ago, and he said, hey, you're in rare air. I've never been there. And I thought, damn, Steve Nash never been to the final. Like, that's pretty crazy, and some guys don't get the chance to do that. And so I'm trying to live in the moment every day. And I think we talked about it as this season went on, especially early in the year when we weren't having success. I thought more and more about how I took last year for granted, the chance